everybody. It's Erica Lyles, your favorite realtor. And today I have Laura Wells here with Capital City. And today is going to be a good show, so stay tuned. Hey Laura, how are you?
I am doing wonderful. How are you?
I'm doing great. Long time no see.
I know, seriously.
I know, right? So listen, thank you for coming to my show. It's going to be a great show.
Absolutely.
I know you're going to give everybody a bunch of information.
You know I am.
And get everybody pre-qualified or pre-approved for their little loan.
Yep.
But a lot of people don't know how to do that.
Right.
So let's go ahead and kind of walk them through it.
Okay.
Well, first give them a little bit of information about yourself.
Okay. Well, in 1999, I graduated college with degrees in finance and economics. Got into the insurance business and was working inside a bank and decided, hey, I'm going to change gears and do mortgages in 2004.
Really?
Yes, 19 years ago.
So you were like a lender with the big crash.
Yeah, well, yeah, I got in at the high in 2004, dipped on down in 2006, 7, 8, and 9, and then been working our way back up, and yeah, so I've gone through some ups and downs and all the way around.
I love it. I love it.
Yeah, so I've been doing it for 19 years. Started out specializing in first-time home buyers. Still love my first-time home buyers. I've got my first-time home buyers that are now on investment properties or purchasing their third or fourth home, and so it's been a lot of fun.
That's how we actually met at TLC.
That's right.
Doing the first-time home buyers program.
That's right.
And I had
It was
to
a few
speak.
years ago.
I know. I was so nervous.
Oh, goodness.
But you were so sweet.
Oh,
And I was like, I want you to do my loan.
I remember that. I remember that. She shouted out in class and said that.
I did. All right, so tell me what's needed if, for the people that's in the audience, they're ready to make loan application. What all would they need to apply?
Okay, so really you just get in contact with the lender, me. And
Definitely her.
Yes, me. And you're just going to kind of just talk with me. Tell me what you're thinking, what you're wanting. Let me know what your plans are. I'm going to ask you if you're renting, when your lease is up. I'm going to ask a lot of questions that you would ask as a real estate agent. That's why it's really good to have a real estate agent and a lender that works really well together so that we can communicate and do the best thing for the borrower. But you're just going to want to have a conversation, and I always make sure that my borrowers have at least one face-to-face meeting with me. That way I can look them in the eye and see, are you getting it? Are you not getting it?
Right.
Really, can I answer any questions? Because you can tell if they have more questions and they're holding back.
Right.
So if the first conversation is a phone conversation, I can email them a link. They can enter their information. Then we can talk on the phone from there, or we can go ahead and schedule that in-office appointment. Typically, I go ahead and give them a list of what kind of documents to gather together. It's a pretty standard list. It may be a little bit more, a little bit less, depending on their situation.
Now, what's standard, though?
Standard is going to be, if they're a first-time home buyer and they're doing a first-time home buyer loan, they're looking at 3 years W-2s and tax returns.
Okay.
The tax returns, they do 3 years because you have to show that you haven't owned a home in the last 3 years, and your tax returns will show if you have mortgage interest credit on there or not.
Okay.
So we do that, picture ID, pay stubs covering 30 days, and your past 2 months bank statements.
That's not too bad.
It's not. But if you get child support, we're going to need to get that support order. We're going to need to show proof of receipt. If you've just recently got a divorce, divorce decree, Social Security. So there's all kinds of other things that may come into that little list that we give you. That's why it's good to have an open and honest conversation with the lender so that they can tell you everything that's needed up front, and you're not chasing things down through the entire process.
Check this out. So I had a client call me, right? And she goes, you know what, Erica, I really, really like working with you. You break this down to the simplest form, but how nosy are you? And I was like, I'm not the nosy one.
Right.
It's your lender that's nosy.
We're going to get up close and personal when it comes time to, you're buying a house.
Right.
Yeah. People are like, oh, that feels like you're invading my privacy, which they never really say that, because if you tell them the whys, then they're okay with it. They just need to know the whys. They need to understand it. If they can have a little bit more understanding through the process, then they get it. But if you're walking with a blindfold,
nobody
likes that.
I was just shocked because she was like, I really want to work with you, but how nosy are you? I'm like, I don't get in your financial business. That's your. Now I can assist you,
right?
You know, with certain questions. The more information I know, the more I can help you. But if you don't want to tell me nothing, that's between you and your lender.
But then, let me go back to that too.
Okay.
And Erica, you and I have worked together, and so the one thing that we both do is we both know our lane.
Yes.
So,
yes.
I've got people that come to me and they're like, oh, can you work up an estimate on this house? They're selling it for this amount and blah, blah, blah. What do you think? Is that a good deal? Do you think that's a great house? I'm like, I don't know. I've never seen the house. I mean, I'm just looking at it online. I was like, that's out of my lane. You need to be talking to your agent.
Right.
Not me.
And vice versa.
Yeah.
Vice versa.
Absolutely.
I'm like, listen, all I know is if you pre-qualified, I bangs with you. Mm-hmm. Other than that, let's get a game plan. Let me call your lender, see what's missing.
That's right.
And I can try to assist from there. But that ain't my lane. So my lane is navigating the contract.
That's right. The contract, inspections, and that kind of thing, and coordinating everything. Whereas mine is trying to get you the money.
But yours is the most important part.
That's right. You can't buy it without the money.
Right. So you can't see me without seeing her.
That's right.
So, all right. So let me ask you this. Mm-hmm. What is one of the main reasons you have to deny a loan?
Oh, gosh. One of the main reasons? So, I'm going to say this. I don't really get down the road with a loan when they have a contract, they're under contract to purchase, and have to deny it down the road. Very few do I actually deny when we're under contract because I've already asked them the story.
Right.
I've already sat down with them. But like
that, and that's what I don't get.
Yeah.
Because you make application, you go under contract, and then that house is back on the market 20 days later.
Yeah.
And financing fell through, and it's like, how?
How did that finally? Yeah. No, I had so. I had one in February, and I can remember them because I don't have that many that fall through. So I had one in February that fell through, and it had to do with assets.
Oh.
So they provided their bank statement, both of their bank statements, and they weren't forthcoming with their documents early on, and so they provided their bank statements finally, and there were a bunch of NSFs. If you can't balance your bank account and make sure that you're not negative on those 60 days, I only want 60 days, 2 months bank statements. If you can't give me clean bank statements when you're trying to purchase, that's a problem. So that's one issue. And then in December, I had somebody who tried to pull a fast one and change jobs on me.
Don't you hate that? As a realtor,
he was like, no, listen to this, girl. I called him and I said, hey, it was like 48 hours before closing. I said, hey, we're doing your final employment verification, and they're telling us you don't work there anymore. And he said to me, I was like, yeah. He goes, I quit almost 3 weeks ago. He goes, but I got another job, and it's in Albany. I was like, Albany, Georgia? And he said, yeah. And I was like,
but
you're buying a house in Tallahassee? He's like, yeah, I'm going to commute. I'm like, really? Car salesman, commissioned. How can you do that?
You can't.
I know, you got to have 2 years.
You can't.
So, anywho.
Don't be changing jobs.
Yeah, don't change jobs. Mind your finances. Keep your credit where it needs to be. Just don't do anything. Just leave everything. Leave everything where it is.
All right, so check this out. Mm-hmm. As an agent, I work with buyers and sellers. Mm-hmm. But it seems today's time, these sellers are getting harder and harder to come by. Mm-hmm. And I'm getting more and more buyers with less and less sellers.
Right.
People's not selling. What are you seeing?
Well, I see that there's an inventory problem. There's a big inventory problem. Think about it. All these people who got their mortgages back in 2020 to 2021 and even into 2022.
Yeah.
They've got these rates that are at historic lows. I mean, you can get a 15% interest rate. I mean, there were some people that got 15% interest rates with like 2%. Mm-hmm. Okay? And why in the world would those people want to get rid of that 2% rate and go to a 6 or a 6.5.
I know, but what about the people who purchased them, let's say, like, 2012? Like, they're not even wanting to sell.
No. Really, what we're seeing a lot of is those who are downsizing. We've got people that are downsizing. They don't need as much house. They've got a bunch of equity. But here's the thing when it comes to lenders. We're seeing more of those people with downsizing as being cash buyers.
Yeah.
Yes, because they're going to have their equity from the sale of their house and they're going to pay cash. They don't need financing. So I'm not really seeing a bunch of that, but I'm hearing a bunch of it. Yeah, but if you have a divorce situation.
Oh yeah, the 3 Ds and the F.
Yes, why don't you explain that?
So my 3 Ds and the F is divorce, downsize, death, and first-time home buyers. That's right. So, I mean, you're always going to have your first-time home buyer because they've got to get in the market somehow. Right.
Okay? And then you've got death. Well, the heirs have got to sell the house. Man. And then divorce. Somebody's going to get the house. Maybe and somebody else has to buy a new house or refinance or, something like that's going to happen. And then downsizing, that's where you're going to see most of the cash buyers because they're going to have the equity from the larger home that they're going to be downsizing. And, hey, they can invest their money and get more of a return. So they're going to actually spend their money and put it down either as a down payment on the house to be able to invest more
or lower their rate.
So there's ways to work it to where it's advantageous for them. You just have to kind of know what their goals are and if they want fixed income, or they're buying investment properties, but those are hard to come by too.
Right. But those rates are higher, a little higher than the regular rates.
That's right.
So in this market right now, I hate to say it, but you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't. The only thing is first-time home buyers, jump in there.
Right.
And sellers, come on, people, sell your house. Buyers need to buy.
Well, and here's the other thing, too, is at the end of the day, if you find something that you love, and somebody reminded me of this not too long ago, but you marry the house and date the rate.
Oh, I say that all the time.
I just heard that again, and it just really clicked with me with this market and everything else. If you find something that you love,
marry it.
Go ahead and
date the rate.
Go ahead and put a ring on it.
Yeah. I teach home buyer prep classes, and that's the first thing. Two things I tell them.
Right.
Marry the house, date the rate, and quit purchasing your gravestone. Purchase your stepping stone.
Well, absolutely. I do hear a lot and that's one of the reasons why I meet with my first-time home buyers is because I gotta look them in the eye, and we gotta have a talk about this. The perfect house.
Well, one, there's no such thing.
Well, before they get out there and start looking, they think there is. Yeah. And
even
the perfect house, this is my forever home. If I've heard it once, I've heard it a million times. This is my forever home. The average home buyer, not first-time home buyer, but the average buyer keeps their mortgage for 5 years before they refinance it, sell it, do something else. Yes.
Yeah, I never understood that. Never. I don't like nothing forever. You get tired of seeing the same thing.
Right, I know.
Yeah.
Well, and for 5 years, that's how you really make sure that you don't keep too much stuff, too.
True. Yeah, true. But, it's just, I like different things. Like, I told my husband, I can move, like, every year if it was up to me.
I can't.
I know you just built a house, though.
I did, and I
you
just
haven't moved.
Yes, and I'm not.
So is this your forever?
Doing it again. Yes, it is my forever, but it's not my first. So, I've had, this is my 4th, and it's my forever now.
Now.
Yeah, it is.
Now, what makes this your forever?
Because I built it.
Yourself.
Not with a hammer. Not with a hammer. But I had somebody else build it. With a screwdriver, it gets even better. No, I mean it took a lot of planning. We did it right. We bought the lot back in 2018.
Speaking of, I'm starting to tell my clients too, land is the new lick. Yeah. Like they can always build, but you can't buy new land.
That's right. That's right.
So how do you feel about that?
I mean, I agree. That's why we got it. I mean, when we bought it in 2018, before we started to build, in 2021 is when we started building, right in the middle of COVID. Don't recommend it. But it all worked out.
We hope COVID never comes back
exactly.
or anything like similar to it.
Right. But, we bought it and the land appreciated, and that's right. I mean, you can't produce any more land. It is what it is. It's here. I mean, it's not like you can, I don't know. It doesn't just multiply.
Well, let me ask you this.
Yeah.
When you have clients that come in and they get pre-qualified for a nice amount, right? But maybe not enough to purchase a house. Do you ever say, hey, have you ever thought about purchasing land and building or saving?
Well, they've done that. They talk to me about that.
Really?
And here's the thing is that, and I do land loans too. Not all lenders do. I do equity loans, I can do land loans, I can do mortgage loans, I can first-time home buyers. But, when it comes down to it, I've got somebody, and when we do construction loans too. So you can go
do you do Reno loans?
Reno?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. I can even do a Florida housing first-time home buyer loan renovation. For the renovations up to $30,000.
See, now I hate to throw another person in there, but I thought Loan Depot was the only one that did that around here. No, you do it too?
No, I got you, girl.
Okay.
So no, it's so land loans. You're looking at a 15-year amortization, 20% down, pretty standard. I want to say we go down to a 620 credit score.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Now your rate's going to be pretty ugly if it's down that low, but I mean it's pretty reasonable if you're 680 to, and I think I would have to look at our matrix, but 680 to like 720 is a rate, and then 720 and above is a different rate. So and they're not crazy. I mean, it's pretty good rates and everything. You just have to go ahead and qualify with your current housing payment, whether it's rent or a mortgage payment, plus the lot loan payment.
Oh, that's not too bad.
No.
That's not too bad at all. I would almost recommend purchasing land first and then...
If that's the way you're going to do it, yeah.
Well, me personally, I look at it all as like game plans to make bigger money moves.
Right.
So it's like land, then townhouse, or duplex, then townhouse, then home, right? And then after you get through all of that, then maybe you're forever. But I don't want it forever.
Right.
Like I want like a souped out, what you call those, RV van? Because I want to travel.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't want to like be stuck in the spot. Well, my kid's 11, right? So by the time he graduates, I'm be old.
Oh, stop.
So I want to travel the world, travel while he's in college. But that's my game plan.
Okay.
So, but that's just me.
That's a good game plan.
Absolutely. So listen.
Okay.
Debate.
Okay.
Who you call first, lender or realtor? Come on. I want to hear your opinion. Because I know who I would call first.
I would call the person with the money. That's
the lender?
Yeah.
See, and I say call the realtor.
Yeah. I would, hey, the realtor can't do anything about it if you don't have any money.
But the realtor can recommend a really great lender. Yeah. And then if you call your realtor or kind of touch bases with the realtor, then they can refer you to a cool lender like Laura.
True.
But what if you get to Laura first and then you come to me? Not that I don't like her or anything. But what if I didn't like her? Or what if I didn't like the way she communicated?
Right.
Then there's not saying that we show favoritism.
Right.
But we do have preferred people.
Right.
But of course you work with whoever you want to work with. But.
Right. So, I mean, you can make an argument for both sides, I really think.
That's why I like asking.
Yeah, I mean, that's a good question. It's like, what comes first, the chicken or the egg? I don't know. I mean, you can make an argument for either way.
You can.
I almost think that maybe you should do it both at the same time.
I know.
I don't know.
Well, like call a meeting. Hey, I want to meet you. Or interview.
Yeah,
and
you can't.
Interview. Well, I tell them that.
Yeah, I mean.
Interview different realtors, interview different lenders, and kind of find somebody you click with that you feel comfortable with.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, as a realtor, I'm all about the transaction. So I don't care what lender you use. I just want to make sure you're pre-qualified.
That's right. And you got the money.
That's all I care about.
And you got the money, yeah. So, and you've got to make sure that you're with somebody that's reputable on both ends.
Right.
So,
absolutely.
On both ends. So, I mean, like I said, you can make an argument for both. I think that both are equally important in a transaction, but everybody has to work well together. And if you see a breakdown in the very beginning, it's only going to get worse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like being very communicative, and Laura definitely is very communicative. I can call her anytime. But
yes.
Well, really, I can. I called you the other night at like 8 something. It was like, yeah, let me tell you what just happened.
And that's okay. I mean, if I didn't want to talk to you, or if I couldn't talk to you, I wouldn't answer. But I mean, I'm going to call you back, or shoot you a text, or do something like that. So, just know that both people that you work with, the real estate agent and the lender, are equally as important. But we do different things.
Yes.
And we stay in
our own lane.
That's right.
So I'm not nosy. It's not me, people. It's her.
Oh, I am nosy. It's part of my job.
Well, Laura, I want to thank you for coming on the show. I really appreciate it. It's a joy every time you come by.
I would love to come again.
Well, you will.
Okay.
Yeah, and maybe we'll have a client. Okay. And so the client can come on the show. Yeah. And you and the client, and then we can all talk about what it's like working with me and you.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll plan that.
Okay.
All right.
That sounds good.
Well, guys, thank you for tuning in. And until next time, that's Erica Laus, your favorite realtor with a little life-ish. You can find me on TikTok, Facebook, and Instagram. And that's Erica Laus, your favorite realtor.